Leonidas here. I hope you're doing great. And I'm proudly presenting to you the BFK-01 Combat Survival Knife made by Hardcore Hardware of Australia. This knife was sent to me by the Dull Knife Terminator, and I'm the fourth individual to have this exact knife in my hand for testing and review, which I'm really excited about. This is a really neat experience for me because I think it's a really awesome way to get a product out there and get good information out about it, is to send it around to different individuals with different and unique backgrounds and perspectives and see what they have to do and say with a knife like this. So, like I said, this is really exciting. And the Dull Knife Terminator is a distributor for the HHA knives, which I find very awesome and useful knives. I carry the LFK on the tactical rig I'm wearing. It's a really neat knife. I have a review up of that. But and I'm going to provide a playlist on my YouTube channel that has the other HHA videos of this knife up there, and which are really, some really fantastic guys did really awesome reviews about this. So I'm really hoping I can live up to their expectations. But I'm just going to go talk about the knife a little bit, my impressions, the condition I received it in, and talk about the testing and some of the parameters that I'm going to go with that, and then I'm going to wrap this video up with sort of a conclusion, overview, and my lasting impressions of this knife. So to tell you a little bit about the knife, it is pretty much the same size as like a full-size USMC fighting knife made by K-Bar. It is 12 inches overall. It's got a 6-inch long blade, really nasty Tonto piercing point on that. Really excited to check out the piercing power. It is just a hair over a 1/4 inch thick. This is D2 tool steel, so this is a really heavy duty knife. They weren't joking around when they call it Hardcore Hardware. The handle is paracord wrap, and it's acrylic dipped for basically structural integrity. It keeps the paracord together. I've seen a lot of knives out there, and I've wrapped some certain ways with paracord, and sometimes it's going to slip around a little bit. And this acrylic keeps it nice and tight. Also definitely keeps sweat and other things out like that, which is some of the other reviews of this knife have mentioned, and which is very true. So there's not really a strong odor to this knife, which is nice. So heavy duty knife, D2 tool steel. There's that prying end on there, which that is actually a little chipped up. And but man, I'm really excited to check this out. And the condition I got it in, the blade is still pretty sharp. The Tonto point is a little dulled down on there. The spine, which is pretty nasty, sort of straight across, saw back. It doesn't, the edges don't really crisscross a little on that like a traditional saw back. That's still pretty sharp. The guard is in good shape on this knife. The prying end is pretty much chipped off and torn up from the last reviewer on that. I think he beat it up pretty hard with that. But overall, the knife is in fine working conditions. That's what I'm really excited about, to see what it can do. And then lastly, the testing I'm going to be doing is, the first test is first phase. There's 3 phases of testing. The first one's going to be based on survival and bushcrafting. So it's going to be like chopping live wood and dead wood. The next phase, which goes into more like rougher, moderate, use geared towards like combat use, is going to be hammering and prying. And then the last testing is going to be geared towards more extreme use, which is going to be basically piercing, and then it's going to be ripping with the saw back. So I'm really excited to do that. So the testing basically goes from light, moderate to hard and extreme, which I'm really excited. I've never done anything quite like this. So and then other parameters for this is I'm going to be wearing gloves, eye protection, possible ear protection. I am wearing a tactical vest to sort of simulate using this with your gear on, so as if you might be using this knife in an actual combat situation. So I thought that would throw a little unique twist to it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. This is my testing platform over here, and then for the final test I'm going to be ripping through a little bit of this is aluminum sheeting and some mesh. So I'm really excited to do that. I really hope the knife survives everything I'm going to throw at it, and I hope it performs well. I have good feelings, and I'm really sort of pumped to see what it can do. And like I said, I really think this knife is gonna, I hope it exceeds my expectations. I mean, it's a pretty mean looking knife. But anyway, I'm gonna get into the testing. Won't be talking during testing, and then I'm just gonna provide the final overview. So here we go. Let's rock. Alright, that was really exciting testing with this knife. It passed everything with pretty much flying colors. And man, that was impressive, I have to say. And man, with the light, the chopping through the live wood and then the moderate with the dead wood, which was oak, man, that blade is nasty sharp. And man, I'm just really kind of blown away, especially with this, just even with the chopping. The hammering and prying went superb, went smooth. It was a good experience. That was fun. And then lastly, that was just extreme awesome with the piercing power and then the ripping. I mean, I was actually really worried about that mesh because I was just messing around with that mesh and just even clipping it with wire cutters or a hacksaw. It's a little bit rough, and right towards the end there, this saw started shredding through it like butter. And the reason I chose that final test was I sort of recreated an aircraft fuselage with that sheet, that metal, that light thin aluminum, and then a little bit of mesh just to really give it some reinforcement. And man, am I impressed with this knife. That was fantastic. That was a ton of fun. Had a really good time with this knife. And as for the final condition of the knife itself, man, only the paint coating is scraped. But other than that, the integrity of the knife is sound. The blade has no chips out of it whatsoever. The Tonto point has some scrapes in it, but good grief, that is one mean piercing point. I have yet to see such an aggressive piercing point on a knife. Man, that is impressive. So final thoughts on this knife is it is expensive. It's over the $200 mark, but holy cow, do you get what you pay for it. Man, if this had a G10 handle scales on it, woo, that would be, man, that would be a force to be reckoned with. So do I recommend this knife? Yes. That was awesome. And man, I'm honestly just really blown away. That is super. Just wanted to talk about the sheath just for a moment here. I actually think it complements the knife really well. I didn't really like it all that much at first because I'm not a real big fan of Velcro, but I find that it gives it really good retention, especially with that paracord wrap being on the handle. And all it is, the sheath is just a ballistic nylon outside with some moly and Powell's sort of little strips right here, and then has a Kydex insert, and it's a pretty good overall package, the knife and sheath included, and that's something that I really look for when I'm buying like a survival or combat knife, and I think it works. It's a really good package overall. I really can't say enough about the knife, especially, but I just want to go ahead and mention that it's not really a bushcraft knife. It's definitely a hard-use combat knife, and that's where I try to gear the final, the final throes of my gauntlet testing going on with this knife. So yeah, I really like it, and I would recommend it. I was just totally blown away how good it turned out. So thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate your time, especially Leonidas signing out as always.